14. Give yourself a check for the range. The last one, you had to simplify each multiplication problem. So you multiply straight across and then simplify your answer. I got 10 over 24, which is equal to 5/12. And then for B, I got 6 out of 20, which is equal to 3/10. Hear me?
I got the answers, but I didn't simplify it. Is that wrong?
It would be like a half point off on a test. You're supposed to always simplify. So technically you got it right, but always keep an eye. That's a good habit to always simplify your fraction.
So should I put an X and a check mark? Or?
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Okay.
Put both. Or just put a check, but write simplify. Do that. Okay, so once you're done correcting, I'm going to pick a random one to check that you checked. So again, you're not getting points based on if you got it right. You're getting points based on if you correct it correctly. Okay? So just stack your homeworks in the middle of your table. Don't put it anywhere today's lesson, lesson 3.2.5. Okay? With integers. Really quickly, I want us to remind ourselves what an integer is. So I'm going to give you an example and a non-example. I want you to discuss with your team what you think an integer is. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. The example of the integers would be -2 is an integer, 100 is an integer, 0 is an integer. Things that are not integers, 1/2 is not an integer. -0.35 is not an integer. So discuss with your team, what is an integer?
An integer is like an integer is like a whole number. It can be a decimal
or fraction.
Yeah, so it has to be like a whole number. It can be a negative or a positive number. It just can't be a fraction. It can be like 1.25.
Oh yeah. It's number by itself.
Yeah.
Alright, let me hear from Baron. What do you think is an integer?
It's like a whole number with no fraction decimal.
Can it be negative?
No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it can be negative. So it's negative and positive whole numbers, right? Only the numbers we can count without any fractions or decimals. Okay, so today we're going to be practicing adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing integers. So our goal is that we can do all those things quickly, accurately, and efficiently. Okay?
Yes.
We're going to play a game called Tug-of-War on the computers, and I'm going to show you how that game works. First, let's kind of read through the rules. So, we're not going to get a resource page, we're going to use the computer. On the computer, when I have you guys open them up and go to this page, what you're going to do is you're going to be, Googling CPM Tug-of-War, and then you'll be able to find the game. So let me go to... Alright. This should work now. There you go. So I'm going to type in CPM Tug-of-War. I can click on the first thing that pops up right here. And then it's like a help guidebook, but you just click here. And it'll pop up. So there's a game. The game has 2 spinners and a board. Okay? So we're going to read through the directions on how to play this game. I think the directions will pop out right here. Alright. So to play this game, you're going to be playing with a partner. To play this game, you start with your marker at 0. So if you look at the board, it's from -15 to +15, and we're starting in the middle at 0. Okay? So the way this game is going to work is you and your shoulder partner will play rock, paper, scissors to see who gets to go first. Not yet. We'll do it later. I'm going to pretend that I'm Madeline's partner, so Madeline, let's play rock, paper, scissors. Okay. That's a good thing I won. So. Okay, so I won, so I'm going to go first, okay? So if we're playing, I'm going to go first. I'm going to pick a color. I'll pick red. This is gonna make my lunch all lunches go on.
What's it even mean?
I know. Okay. So, I'm at 0. Can I have a moment to read the next direction on your paper? It's number 2. Jeremy.
Spin both spinners. You may choose to add, subtract, multiply, or divide the two numbers. The result of the calculation determines how many steps you would take in which direction. For example, if you spin a -2 and -1, you choose to add them to get -2 plus -1, which equals -3. You would move 3 spaces to the left. Note that you always need to land on the integer space, one of the circles. Yeah, so that may limit your choices.
Okay. So, like Jeremy just said, I'm going to spin both spinners because I'm going first. So I got -2. What else did I get? Everybody.
+2.
+2. So I got -2 and +2. And I have a choice of either adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing those numbers. That second paper that I gave you is going to be where we write down our work. So if I go to that second paper, this is just to help you play the game. Alright. And the way this paper works is you're just writing for yourself, not for your shoulder partner. Just for yourself. So, you don't need to write this down, just look at what I'm doing. I started at 0. And I got a -2 and a +2. So I have some options. I'm going to use a post-it note because I have some options. I could either do -2 plus 2. What would that equal, everybody? 0. Okay. I could do -2 minus 2. What would that equal? Raise your hand if you can tell me. What would that equal? Kim? -4. -4. I could also flip it and I could do +2 minus -2. What would that equal? Raise your hand. Let me see some more hands. You may want to think about adding the opposite, like we talked about before. Or adding the opposite here. What did I end up with? Here? Well, huh? +4. So I could get a 0, a -4, +4. I could also multiply. So I could do -2 times +2. What's that going to equal, everybody? -4.
-4.
-4, because when we're multiplying, if there's one negative, the answer is negative. And then I could divide. I could do -2 divided by +2. Raise your hand if you can tell me what would that equal.
+4?
It would actually be -1 because there's one negative, one positive. So I have a bunch of options, but I'm trying to get to either +11 or -11. So I want to move far. I don't want to only move like 0, right? So I think I'm going to shoot for -11, and I'm going to pick -2 minus 2. So I'm going to do -2 minus 2. I get -4. Okay? I get the wrong. If I got -4, guys, am I moving forwards or backwards?
Backwards.
So I'm going to be moving backwards. How many spaces am I moving backwards?
4.
Okay. So on my game board, I'm moving backwards 1, 2, 3, 4. Where do I end up, everybody?
-4.
-4. Okay? So that's how I would fill this out. This is just to help me go through it. Let's say I play around, and so then let's say Evelyn goes and she ends up at, let's say she picks orange, it ends up at 11. Or sorry, 7. So she ends up at 7. Now it's my turn again. So if I go back to my paper, last time I ended at -4, and I'm starting at -4. I'm going to spin twice again. What did I get, everybody?
-2.
What did I get?
-1.
Okay, so now I have some options again. I have -2 and -1. And the important thing, because I did this with my last class, so I'm waiting for everyone's attention. The important thing is you guys really need to think about your options. Because I saw a lot of people play last period, and they totally could have won, but they weren't looking at all of their options. They were like, oh, I'll just add every time, or oh, I'll just multiply every time. You gotta be a little bit more strategic than that. So, let's go through these again. I could do -2 plus -1. Raise your hand, what would that equal? Darby? -3. So I could get -3. I could do -2 minus -1. raise your hand, you tell me like, okay, -1. That will equal -1. I can also flip it and I could do -1 minus -2. You may think about that for a moment. What would that equal? I can draw a diagram of that. Let's see. Well, I can also change it to adding, right? Change it to adding the opposite. -1 plus 2 is really what that's like. What would that equal? +1. Okay. And then I could multiply.